South Durham football fans. Welcome to the Local Football Show, sponsored by Bishop's Football Museum Shop, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of South Durham's football community. I'm your host for today, Archie Mackay, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our first ever show. Now, before we kick things off with our special guest, I want to share some exciting news. Even though we have spent weeks thinking about a great title for the show, we're on the hunt for an even more imaginative title than The Local Football Show. Something that truly captures the essence of our passion for local football here in South Durham. So, listeners, if you've got a creative spark and a name that just can't be contained, we want to hear from you. Share your title suggestions with us on social media, and who knows, as difficult as it'll be to come up with something better, you might just be the one to rename our show. This is the first ever show, as I said, and we're welcoming tonight not only our sponsor, but also the chairman of Bishop Auckland Football Club, Steve Coulthard. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you, Archie. No, I'm looking forward to it.
No, you're very welcome, and it's great to see you here. And we've got to say thank you to you as well, because you've decided to take us up on the offer of sponsoring the podcast going forward. So we're delighted with that.
No problem at all. We'll support anything to do with local football, and especially we'll do it within our Bishop shop, which is going quite well, but we need to get it out there a bit more, what we exactly do down there, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will do indeed. So let's talk a wee bit then, at the beginning of the show, about the current situation. We're obviously starting this podcast a little bit late in the season. It's a bit of a late kick-off for us, but it's, 13 games in now, third of the way through the season. Bishops are doing pretty well. They're up in second place at the moment. Played on Saturday against Penrith, 6-0 win over there, which is a great result, obviously. Makes the journey worthwhile, I suppose. And that takes you to within 3 points of the top as well. So what's your assessment so far, Steve, of the season?
Assessment so far this season, 13 games gone, 25 games to go, so we're a third of the way through. We are more than happy with the way things are going at the moment. We're sitting in a very close race there. We're sitting tucked in behind Shildon, who are doing marvellously well. I think Shildon have surprised everybody how well they're doing. This season's still unbeaten in the league. Well, we've only lost one, but there's also other teams in the league. Heaton, Stannington, they've only lost one. Other teams have only lost 2 or 3, so there's a long, long way to go.
Yeah, a third of the way through, I think we can safely say there's a good bit of football to be played yet.
Yeah.
One of the teams that you haven't obviously played yet is Shildon. Those games are going to be coming up. One of them not too distant future, Boxing Day, I think.
Boxing Day afternoon, on the Tuesday, I believe it is, at 3 o'clock kick-off up at Dane Street here. Yeah, so we're all looking forward to that one. There's a lot of interest in that one. Then we play the return leg on Easter Monday, back down to Heritage Park.
And you say, obviously, and quite rightly, that there's a lot of football to be played this season. But are you seeing things developing already in terms of who the main players are going to be and who you're a bit more wary of? Or is it one of those leagues where anything can happen?
It's one of those leagues where anything can happen, yes. We're out in front with Shildon at the moment, and people are putting it out too early. I think it's a 2-horse race. We've got all the Birtleys and North Shields and Whitley Bears and everybody coming in behind us, and they're going to win games, So it'll go to the wire as it did last year, I'm sure.
I suppose you've even got very recent experience of how tough these divisions are yourselves anyway, after your League Cup game last midweek, which didn't quite go according to plan. Yeah,
the Horden game. Yeah, it was a chance to rest. Chris Hardy rested 6 players, yes. But we have a biggish squad. We brought 6 lads in, but we still had a good enough team to beat Horden on the night. It was a good, close game. Didn't go our way. Ended up 1 apiece going to penalties. They missed 1, we missed 2. So it's just one of those things, it's a bit of a lottery when they went to penalties. But, good luck to Horden. They played well in the night and they scored a good goal. We didn't take our chances. But now we can concentrate on the league and the Vars, and obviously we've still got the Durham Challenge Cup.
Yeah, we published our report in this week's Bishop Press about the last 3 games, which is obviously one of the reasons I've just mentioned, the League Cup one, but the other one just before that was another cup game, FA Vaz, against a pretty famous name in Northwich Victoria as well, and that was a cracking result for you guys.
Yeah, we played well that day. We had a good side out, and we just blew them away from the start, from the first whistle, and then we just got right in the faces, and we really went for it at Heritage Park. We'll play anybody at Heritage Park because the pitch is in such good condition at the moment. It suits us. So we did well against them. It's
one of the best pitches in, well, not just in the Northern League, is it? It's one of the best pitches that you'll find in any division, really.
Our pitch is fantastic. I've been on it this afternoon. With all that rain, I even went on it this afternoon just to see if there was any puddles. Not one. Middlesbrough have relayed it this year with their under-21s playing on it. And they've done a fantastic job. You know, it's never been as good. It hasn't. Fantastic.
I remember being down at Heritage Park. It's been a while since I've been down there, but a couple of seasons ago, actually, I went down when Chris Hardy first came along. I think you had your struggles that particular season. But I do remember having a conversation with you where you said you were absolutely confident that Chris was going to turn things around. You went to the wire, I suppose we can say that season in terms of the relegation fight, but it's been a different story since then.
Yeah, we were very close to getting relegated 2 years ago. Chris came in, a few months he turned things round, and we got away from it in the end. Yeah, it was very close. At the end we had to win the last 2 games out of the last 3, I think, and which we managed to do. And since then we've been on the up and up and up, and Chris Hardy is doing an absolutely sterling job.
Yeah, there's a big argument within the Northern League in terms of automatic promotion and so on. There has been for a very long time. I know that Bishop have been one of the clubs that have always been very vocal about wanting to get promoted. Last season you came so close. What was the overall kind of general feeling at the club?
If somebody had said to us at the beginning of the season, last season, after we'd finished 3rd or 4th off bottom, somebody said, "Oh, you're going to finish 3rd off top this time," we'd have took their hands off. But the way things went, we had a good season up till Christmas. We threw it away after Christmas, lost a couple of games, drew a couple of games which we should have won, and then we had the big game against Ashington, last game of the season. And we had to win, and we only drew. So good luck to Ashington, and they went into the playoffs and they got promoted. Obviously along with Aycliffe, who won the league, who take a hat off to Aycliffe. They never lost a home game last season.
And in terms of that league campaign and the fact that promotion is now, you know, a permanent thing as far as the Northern League is concerned, what's your feeling about what that does to the actual league itself? Do you think it dilutes the quality of it, the fact that so many of the teams go up? And obviously Shildon have come back down this season, which might have surprised a few people that they got relegated in the first place, but they generally do tend to stay up, the teams, when they go up, don't they?
We just had that conversation last week. Actually, Shildon were probably the first team that got relegated that's been promoted, to be honest. And I thought Chris Hughes, who I know very well, and he does a good job, and I knew he'd turn it around eventually. But he was unlucky with a few things, and then he ended up in the bottom 2 or whatever. So I was very, very surprised that they went down last year. And obviously North Shields came down, but that was a different kettle of fish. They didn't do the ground improvements that they'd been promised, so it's a different story, that one. But it is getting diluted a little bit with the good teams. Well, the bigger teams from the Concerts and Stocktons and everything, they're all up there in the next league up, and that's where we want to be. Yeah, without a doubt.
I suppose we could get to the stage at some point in time where the next league up becomes the Northern League Division 1 because all of the Northern League teams are up there.
It could happen, yes. It could be. Because there's hardly anybody coming back down again or whatever, but the other teams are coming up through now from the Wearside League. They're coming into the second division, and the second division get promoted to the first division. And some of the first division, I really don't know how they keep them going really on the low spectators that they have, you know. Some of the money it costs to run a club nowadays, and you've got to take your hat off to some of those clubs for keeping them going. Some of those volunteers. They do an absolute sterling job, you know. And I've known them for a lot of years. I've been involved with the Northern League, obviously, for 40 years. One thing or another. those lads, the Towler lads and the Wellingtons are struggling nowadays. But I went down and watched them last week. Actually, I didn't go to Penrith as it happened. I went to watch Bishop Reserves v Wellington, and I saw a lot of Wellington lads there, and I think they'll turn things around at Wellington.
Yeah, you're right. It's amazing to me how the amount of money it takes actually to run a club at this level. It's an incredible amount of money that you need to be able to get through the turnstiles, if you like. But they do survive on volunteers, don't they? That's one of the great things about football at this level, is the number of people who just pitch in and get involved.
Yeah. We're very, very lucky. We have 20, 30 volunteers that come every week. So we do quite well, but we're always looking for more. But then you need somebody, you need all the sponsors and everybody, which everybody has to work hard behind the scenes, and you've got to go and look after the sponsors, and would really appreciate everybody. Every club's the same, and you just have to keep it going, And
even still, there's a few clubs I'm looking at, kind of even just your own fixture list at the moment on the Northern League website, and there's some clubs in there playing Division 1 football, like Borough Rangers, who have come up really quickly over the last couple of seasons, and have shown tremendous ambition to be able to do that.
They have, yes. Borough Rangers, we had a really close game against them. I think we only beat them 2-1, and they were they're up and coming side. The Redcar teams are the up and coming sides, and there's a few of them. They're just all coming, and they're all, they've got some really good people behind them, and they're ambitious, and they want to get up to the first division and do well, and possibly further up as well.
Yeah, I think that there's always been an argument that, especially Northern League Division 1, it is a Step 5 league, but the argument's always been that actually it should be a Step 4 league, because the quality of the clubs, the quality of the players that play in the Northern League is so high a standard. It's why Northern League clubs for so long reach the final of the FA Vase year on year. And I guess that's the thing about the automatic promotion. Now we can even see it, can't we, that all the clubs are getting promoted. In the main, they're staying up. They are beginning to populate that division, and ultimately, there's a possibility that you will get so many Northern League Division 1 teams up there that it effectively becomes that Step 4 division again. Yes,
we can't wait to hopefully get promoted this next year or two and go up to the Step 4. The Step 5, obviously the Step 4 you're into the FA Trophy. Step 5 you're in the FA Vase. We've had a couple of good wins in the FA Vase, and obviously we've got a big one next week in the next round of the FA Vase when we go down to Stockport, which we're all looking forward to. We've actually got 2 coach loads going down next week, so we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, another big game in the Vase, of course, and I suppose every team in the Northern League has that ambition to make that trip to Wembley.
Well, they have. You talk to anybody in the Northern League, there's been a lot of our teams been to the Wembley through the FA Vase. All the Spennymoors have been there, and even when we played South Shields in the FA Cup, they've been there and done it. Obviously the West Auckland and Shildon have had good runs, and and it's everybody's ambition to play at Wembley, obviously, and the FA Vase is your best opportunity to play at Wembley, to be honest, because the FA Trophy, you're up against the real big boys in the FA Trophy. Last year, the FA Trophy had like the Wrexhams and Notts Counties and stuff, and that, you haven't got a cut an L's chance of getting to Wembley in the FA Trophy, really, for want of a better word. But, the FA Vase is your best bet to try and, your dreams of playing there. So we're hoping this year, if luck goes our way and we get some good draws, as I say, we're looking forward to next Saturday, the Stockport Georgians, who we've never ever played before, but they're doing well. They won again this midweek, I think. They won last weekend. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, good luck in that game. But I suppose in terms of ambition, I suppose, like behind the scenes, you guys are as a board or whatever are obviously always talking, and as a management team are obviously always talking about whatever the ambition of Bishop is in the short and long term. Can you give us a wee bit more of an insight into those conversations and what the future holds for Bishop in terms of ambition?
We're very ambitious because we think we've got the right manager in place now, and Chris is very, very ambitious. Every player that he's brought in this season virtually is ready to step up to the next leg up. All the players that have come in that Chris has brought are ready to play at the higher division, and it is that is our priority this year, is to get up and play the bigger teams.
You have signed a couple of players from Shildon as well. Obviously, they've shown that ambition to bring in some players that they felt would bring them onto the next level, which those players did. But they've a couple of them have come to you now, and very recently Dom Cole's come to Bishop. I think he's a Bishop lad as well, isn't he?
I've known both Dean and Dom. They've both played for my St Mary's teams over the years.
That's Dean Thexton, isn't it?
Yeah, Dean Thexton. And Dom Curl, obviously, he's been out with it when he left Shildon. He went to Mask and he got a bad injury, his ACL. So he's been out for just over a year. So I've always kept in touch with Dom. I saw him out training, and we had a conversation. And, so now he's not far off. He needs a bit more match practice, I think. And he's had a game for the reserves. He's had a run out against Horden. It seemed to go all right. Being the bench, or it's now just a question of just fitting him back in there and getting him fit again, match fit, So Dom, as every Shildon player knows, and most people in the league know, Dom is a very, very good player.
Yeah, he's a very talented guy, isn't he? I mean, I was involved myself at Shildon for a little while Dom was there as well, and you could just tell that this is a guy who's more than capable of playing at the next level, and I guess that's why he went to Marsk in the first place as well, isn't it?
Yes, I wanted him to come to Bishop. There was no hidden agenda at all. I wanted him to come. He said, no, I want to play at a higher level, and Mask were up at a higher level. So he went there, and he would do a job there, no problem at all. But, unfortunately, the injury came at a bad time for him, but he's a young lad. He'll get over it. He'll come back good again. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good summary of what's been happening to date, so we'll take a little bit of a short break there, and we'll maybe talk to our new podcast sponsor.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, Archie. Thank you.
So we're back now with none other than Steve Coulthard, who is also involved in the Bishop Football Museum shop, which is great for us because Steve, through the shop, has agreed to sponsor the podcast for most of the season going forward. Thank you very much for that, Steve. I think it's interesting. The football shop itself down in Bishop Auckland is an interesting project as well. It was opened how long ago?
It'll be 2 years coming up this month, actually. It'll be 2 years we opened the museum shop as such. We're hoping it's going to be busier than what it is, but I want to get it out there that it's not just about Bishop Auckland Football Club, but we're doing it for other local clubs as well. We've had the display of Shildon Centenary down there for the last 6 weeks. We have West Auckland and we have Spennymoor, we have different teams, and all local teams, Auckland District League teams, Crookham District League teams, all the history going back, and there's just that much, anything to do with football, anybody would enjoy going in there and having a look around.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing for people to know that possibly they don't, is that while it's down in Bishop and Bishops are prominent in the shop, it actually celebrates the history of local football around the whole area, doesn't it?
Yeah, the whole area, right through. It has the Willington stories, the Tower Law stories when Chris Wattle played for them, everything, and the Willington story, which is coming up the 50-year anniversary, where we've got all the programmes and everything from when they played Blackburn Rovers and things going back to 73 in the FA Cup. All the other teams, the Crook stories, then we have the Cockfield stories, then all the Evenwood stories. We've got everything going back there, which some teams don't exist anymore, unfortunately. But, for people to come in to reminisce, they love it, to recognise people, and, we've got all the Bishop programmes, yes, all the Wembley Days and stuff like that, which are there, all the programmes and stuff, and the photos going back over the Bishop's days, yes. But it's not just about Bishop, it is about local football, and we work very hand in hand with the Durham Amateur Football Trust, who provide us with all sorts of photos and information There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out of the Durham Amateur Football Trust.
The Durham Amateur Football Trust has got a massive archive of local football going back through the ages, and they've collected so much information.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how much stuff they've got, and they've worked hard. And they're desperately looking for more volunteers to help out. Unfortunately, they've lost 3 or 4 big members of their board, so there's only Jeff and Barbara who are left running it now, along with John Phelan and 2 or 3 others. But they are looking for other people to help out with the Amateur Football Trust, because they do so much.
Yeah. And the Wellington story is one. This is a specific exhibition that's coming to the Bishop Museum shop.
It's not actually coming to the Bishop Museum shop. It's coming to somewhere in Wellington. I think it's coming to the Wellington Town Hall, I believe. But we'll have to check on that one. But they've come up with all sorts. They're hoping to get Brian Newton along, I think, who played at the time, and a few of the ex-players who are still knocking around. To come and show the faces and whatever, and have a bit of a get-together there, because that was just a fantastic story of when they drew at Wellington, I believe. Then the replay went down to Blackburn. It was cancelled once or twice. It was when the power cuts were on, and they had to kick off at 1 o'clock on an afternoon down to Blackburn, and some of the Wellington players couldn't make it for 1 o'clock kick-off, and so they didn't have a full-strength team for the replay back down at Blackburn. I think it ended up about 5 or 6-1 or something. Yes, but which they're expected to win anyway. But for all accounts, Wellington were very, very unlucky at Wellington not to get a result on Wellington's ground. Wellington have a fantastic history. I'm just over the moon. There's some people up there who are keeping the Wellington going.
So the shop itself then, it's not open every day, is it? What's the opening times?
No, we open sort of 10 till 3, half 3, Tuesday to Saturday. Run by volunteers. We've got about 10 or 15 volunteers who come in and run it for us. Barry Trey, who's the shop manager, and we've got other people who come in regular time, 2-hour slots come in, and people come in for a catch-up, really. We give them a cup of tea and a bit of chat, and they come in, have a look around, and we rely on donations. We do one of Barry Trey's famous guided tours now that it's becoming, and give them the full tour of the whole shop, of the history of the Bishops and every other team. They even throw the West Auckland World Cup winning team in, that we've got a copy of the medals and things like that from West Auckland, and we don't leave anything out. So they get a good guided tour, and say we just look for donations on the way out to do it. Anybody can come in and just sit and have a cup of tea, and we have a lot of regular people who come in, just have a good catch up, and it's just good football crack.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's all it is, and then the people come in, and we even have some odd films of the old cup finals from the 56 when Bishop played Wellington, stuff like that at Wembley.
Amazing.
Watching them, and people, the kids' faces just lit up, and they said they didn't know that, that Bishop had been at Wembley or Wellington or Crook or. So it's good to keep it all alive.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that we get handed in, people just walk in and they hand stuff. I found this in my drawer, and we handed my dad's house out, and we found this old programme, found this, that and the other, and they just come and donate it. And now, rather than getting thrown away or put at the back of a drawer, we have somewhere to show it. Yeah. So they come in, and and people can relate to it. And it brings back happy memories. People come in and not sure what to expect, and they go out with a smile on their faces and some with tears in their eyes, because they've known that the people who played there, and if you come in that have went to watch Bishop at Wembley, and then it brings it back to them, and that's what life's about. Some memories. A lot of things. I've
seen some of the photographs down there of the crowds in the Market Square when they came back from Wembley and so on. It's just incredible, just an absolute sea of people.
The photos that we have are fantastic, and we're in a perfect spot in the marketplace, and we're on those photos in the background, our shop, when the marketplace was just full, when they came back on the open-top buses. Which those days will never come back, unfortunately, but we'll just keep the flag flying, and we're working pretty close with what they call the Bishop United play at the moment, which is just starting to come very, very popular. The story of the Bishops when they played or helped the Manchester United out after the Munich air disaster.
Yeah.
So they have regular meetings down at our shop with Steve Newcomb and all these guys who go around everywhere, do free shows. We've got another free show next week for up at the Bishop Football Club, actually. But they're going around places and telling the story of the Munich air disaster and how Bishop sent 3 players down to help Man United out. And they just signed something this week. They're going to do a play about it, a proper production, something about it. So watch this space on that one.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to share that information as soon as it comes out, for sure.
Yeah.
So the shop as well, I guess you talked there about people handing things in. You're open to donations as well in terms of memorabilia.
Yeah, memorabilia, anything to do with any football club. You know, where a lady walked in a few weeks ago with all crook stuff, all sorts of crook stuff. You know, somebody who came in last week with a picture of the Bishop team from 1905, 1906, which we didn't have. Then somebody came in with the itinerary of when Bishop went to Wembley in 1957 when they played Wycombe Wanderers, and the full itinerary of exactly who was going where they had to be. They got the train to, they got the bus through, the Lockie's coach through to Dalton Station. They had to be there for a certain time. When they got to Wembley, they stayed at a certain hotel where they were staying. All the itinerary, what time breakfast, lunch, and where they were going, where they were stopping. Everything, and it was fantastic just to look at the guy called Kit Rudd organised all that, who was the secretary of Bishop Football Club, who was a legend at the club, and it's just fantastic to look back on.
So you've mentioned that you've got quite a lot of volunteers down there. Are you always looking for more volunteers, or? Yeah,
we're always looking for another 2 or 3 volunteers to come down and help out, you know. And if we do end up opening on a Sunday, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the marketplace now with the mining museum, the Spanish art gallery, and the other things that are open with the Auckland project. So there's stuff happening down there, and it could be that we might want it open on a Sunday eventually. It's become a bit of a tourist attraction, and we're right in the market square. So, you know, yes, we are looking for more volunteers. Yeah.
So get yourselves down to the Bishop's Football Museum shop, because you'll find more than Bishop Auckland on display down there.
Yes.
There's lots of other things. It's the history of South Durham football, really, so get yourselves down there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you very much for sponsoring this podcast.
No.
We really appreciate that.
No problem at all, actually. Thank you.
So, with that, let's get back to the current Northern League. We were hoping, to have a couple of other guests in here tonight, but I think the weather's a little bit mucky out there at the moment, and it's probably prevented people from being able to get here as much as they might have wanted to. But it's great to have Steve here and have this chinwag with him, and I'm sure this is as interesting to everybody as any other conversation will be. We're covering as much of the local football as we can, and I'm going to talk to Steve a little bit about that in terms of what his assessment is of the other clubs around. We're intending to focus as much as possible in the podcast on the clubs that are around the areas where we publish our papers. So we've got Bishop, obviously. Our South West Durham News is based in Shildon, so we can look out the window here and see the floodlights of Shildon Football Club as well. Spennymoor Town, who are obviously doing fantastically well over the last few years. And a new club up in Ferryhill, Ferryhill Athletic itself. Pretty famous old name as well, but being revived over there. And we're hoping to get guests in from all of these clubs, and hopefully even a little bit more than that as well over the coming months. In terms of that, Steve, your focus is obviously on Bishop Auckland, and that keeps you probably pretty busy, but I think guys like yourself are so steeped in local football that you probably keep a pretty close eye on what's happening elsewhere as well, and know a few bits and bobs about what's going on. So what's your assessment of the local scene within our South West Durham area at the moment?
Well, certainly they're getting there. Obviously the Spennymoor are just whatever 3 or 4 leagues higher than us, and they're doing fantastically well. They've got good crowds, and they've got really, really good sponsors and whatever year, and they've got a good setup over there. I've been invited over there, and I get on well with them, and good luck to those guys over there. The other local teams with the Aycliffe surprised themselves last year, I think. But as I say, they'll do more than hold themselves well. I'll know very well the chairman of Aycliffe, and we get on well, and we hope to be playing them next year if we get promoted. We have drawn them against in the next round of the Durham Challenge Cup, actually, which is in a couple of weeks' time on a Tuesday night. So it'll be nice to meet up again in the next round of that. And the other teams, obviously, the West Auckland. We've had 3 good games with West Auckland over the last couple of months. We met them in the FA Cup, drew at our place, beat them in a close tie, 2-1, I believe, up at their place. Then, yes, we beat them in the league. But that it was closer than what the scoreline suggested, actually. But
I think you're being modest there. It was a pretty good win, 4-0.
Yeah, it was a good win. Yeah, we'll take that. It's a long time since we've beaten them like that. It's always local derbies are always usually close, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they were good wins, and we'll take that. And they'll come back. I'm sure. Then obviously we've got the Shildon derbies to look forward to. Towlaw we have this Saturday, which one of our ex-players, Dion Raiders, just took that club over, Towlaw, because they struggled a little bit this season. So looking forward to meeting up with Dion again, and we'll make him welcome on Saturday. I was talking to him last night, actually, and he says I'll make sure I'll go in the right dressing rooms, because he played at home. Last time we won the Durham Challenge Cup, I think he played for us there. So we're having a good, as I said, we're having a Remembrance Day for you this weekend. He says, is that for me? He said, well, not really, Dion. It is a Remembrance Saturday. We have all the buglers there and the bagpipes and whatever this Saturday. So it's the closest Saturday we have to Remembrance Day. So we have a lot going on this Saturday at the football ground.
That'll be a great sight down at the Bishop this Saturday as well, to see the remembrance being observed down there as well. I'm partial to a bit of bagpipes myself. You might my accent.
Yeah, that's right. We have Ruth and the SAFA, the charity that we support up at the football ground. They come and organise everything, and they do a really good professional job, and it is quite touching, to be honest, what they do up there for us. So we're looking forward to sponsoring the game Saturday, actually. You'll
obviously be very diplomatic, and rightly so, and every club respects every other club in the division, but Tillow are struggling a bit this season. They're currently lying second bottom. They've only gained 1 point so far this season, so I presume Bishops will be expecting to get 3 points from that one.
Well, I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't, but, it's no good our lads going out with the wrong attitude, think it's going to be an easy game. If it's going to be wet, which it's forecast, it could be a bit of a leveller. And you just don't know. Yes, we are expected to beat them, but you get some funny results. This is where we slipped up last year. We got beat off second or bottom in the league last year, which is where we threw the league away. But, so you just don't know. You cannot turn up and just expect to win a game at our level at all. Or it'll just come and back and bite you.
And the league leader, Shildon, they've got Gisborough. Gisborough are traditionally a pretty strong team in this division as well. Potentially an opportunity there for if there's a little slip up at Dean Street for Bishop to get even closer to the top of the division.
Well, I don't like to say too much, but because I do get on well with all the Shildon guys, but they can't keep winning all the games this season, or they can't. Somebody's going to get beat sometime. But Gisborough are one of the better teams in the league. They had a fantastic win during the week. They beat York City in the North Riding Cup, I think. So Gisborough will be come with full of confidence, I'm sure. And we've had some really close games with Gisborough over the last year or two.
Yeah, and actually a very strange circumstance for Gisborough just this weekend, wasn't there, where they got deducted 3 points and fined £100 for playing an entire team of ineligible players against Bishop Auckland.
We couldn't get our head around that, actually, but seemingly the whole team was suspended because they had an unpaid fine, which they'd missed through, whether it was a computer glitch or what, I don't know, but anyway, they hadn't paid a fine, so the whole team was suspended, and so they got 3 points, which they'll be very annoyed about, I'm sure. It was just, an oversight.
Well, they lost that game and lost 3 points in the first place, and now they've lost another 3 points.
Yeah, it's quite disappointing for them.
And of course, those 3 points would actually have seen them probably another 3 places up the league at the moment if that hadn't been deducted. So they are traditionally a fairly strong team in the division, aren't they? But
we pinched one of the best players last year from them. JJ Bartlett. He's a cracking player. He played for Gisborne last year. He was one of their star players. We managed to. Chris Hardy managed to persuade him to come to the Bishops.
Well, they'll have to make sure that they pay this fine then, or they might be in the same boat again.
Yeah.
But so that's the two top teams in the division this season. Have you followed very much the Ferryhill athletics story?
I'll be honest, I haven't much, to be honest. I know they had a team and they're trying to get back up there again and whatever. But if you ask me what league they're in, I'm struggling.
I think they're in the Wearside, aren't they?
They could be in the Wearside, whatever second division is the call now. I think because the Wearside Premier, then the Wearside First Division, and the second division now. I think. So
I should be able to tell you straight off the bat, since we do get reports submitted to the Ferryhill and Chiltern chapter every week from the guys over at Ferryhill Athletic.
It's great. They've got a fantastic history, Ferryhill. I know a lot of lads who used to play for Ferryhill. After I played for Bishop, I played Rainbow for quite a while, and then we had games against Ferryhill, and they were proper good local derbies against all the teams like Ferryhill. They had a good side, so it's good to see them back playing again and getting a team back together.
Yeah, it's good to have that revival, isn't it? And I do get the sense from everything that's happening over there that they've got a lot of ambition as well. So I think it might not be overly long if they keep going the way that they are. I think they're definitely keen to get up into the Northern League as soon as they can, so we might see them up there.
That would be great. That would be good to get one of the teams back up there that deserve to be back up there.
So let's see then. So that's us covered a little bit about this week's matches. We're predicting, I guess, 3 points for Bishop this weekend.
Fingers crossed.
Do you do the predictions or?
Any other predictions?
Do you? Is that? Do you do these predictions? Do you
no.
predict the matches, or do you?
No.
Do you prefer to stay away from that?
No, I don't do predictions. No. I've been. My fingers burned too many times off of that. So we,
Well, as this podcast develops, you might have to start doing some predictions. I think that's one of the things that we want to bring in is like get all the guests around the table, give their predictions, and let's just see how they go on when the results come in the following Saturday.
That will be interesting. But as I say, the weather's starting to turn a bit against people, and these pitches are. It's all right playing football like last Saturday. Yes, we played Penrith, but that was on a 3G. That was just we were able to play proper football up there. And knock the ball about, but then you start getting into the icky sticky. Some of them end up a bit of a mud bath type of thing, and then it's not just about football. You play with the heart and the tackles, and then you've got to go and make sure you win the ball. And it's the people that want to win the game the most. It's not just about football. Sometimes these games.
Isn't that called proper football? Is that?
It is. Back in my day, yeah.
So that's this week. Hopefully, we'll hear from you again next week, Steve. But prior to that, we'll just have a quick chat because you obviously have that massive game coming up just over a week's time against Stockport Georgians. You said that you haven't played the club before, but do you know very much about them at all?
We've looked at some results. So they obviously played Rosedale in the replay. They drew, and they played them back at theirs and they beat them 3-0. Decent side. We're quietly confident that we're going to give them a good game. Come back with the result. We've got to say we've got a real cracking bunch of fans coming down with us. We filled one bus straight away. The second bus is nearly full now. I think there's about 10 spaces left on the second bus now. So there'll be over 100 fans going down to watch the game, and we'll have a good day out. But hopefully we'll come back with the result, because it's got to be decided on the day. There'll be no getting back to our place. So it's got to be decided there. If we turn up with our first team and everybody's on their game, I think we'll do it.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise that. I actually thought that these games went to a replay.
They've got to be sorted out. It all comes down to costs, I think, really, because it's quite expensive for some of these clubs now. They've got to pay for our bus to go down. We get half the gate, because some of these clubs are very well off now. People don't realise that... the cost of the coach travel, it's something like £900 for a coach. down there, which they've got to reimburse us for. So it's not about money. A lot of these FA Vars games, yes, there's a bit money in the FA Cup, and I'll wish Whitby all the best of luck this weekend at Bristol Rovers, I think it is, they're playing. So best of luck to the Whitby guys who we played pre-season. We have a very good relationship with Whitby, so best of luck to those guys this weekend in the FA Cup.
Yeah, and we're going to obviously talk a lot more about the games coming up in the weeks and months to come, but obviously I think the juicy one on Boxing Day is one that everybody's already looking forward to, given the current positions in the league. I mean, things might change by the time that game comes up, but it's always traditionally a good old derby, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, we've missed the good derbies. We missed out last year playing Shildon, and we always have some good games with Shildon. We really do. So Boxing Day, yeah, people are saying it'll not depend on that game. The league won't be decided that day, but if we can get something out of that game, we'll be more than happy. Up at Shildon, and I'm sure there'll be a terrific crowd. I'm sure there'll be 500 or 600 will turn up for that game. And there'll be double the normal crowds, I think, when you get two good sides like this together. So we're really looking forward to the Boxing Day game. So we'll just have to make sure our lads don't have too much Christmas pudding, not enjoying themselves, and get themselves ready for that game.
And presumably the fans that will be coming up from Bishop that day, they're not going to be wearing red and white Santa suits, are they?
No, I don't think they will. No, they'll have the two blue Santa suits on. They will. But, no, we just keep our fingers crossed that everything turns up that day and the weather isn't too bad and we get the game on. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much again, Steve, for coming in today. I think that's a wrap for today. We've chatted for the best part of an hour, which has been fantastic. It's been great to see you again. It's been a long time since I've seen you as well. Obviously, wishing Bishop the best of luck in the league as the weeks and months go forward. Thank you very much. I know you've got to sit on the fence with us sitting in Shildon here, so I have to be careful what we say.
A little bit. You've got to sit on the fence a bit. I've obviously been involved over at Shildon during my time as well. Mm-hmm. So that's a club that's close to my own heart. But I love this division. I think the Northern League is just such a fantastic division. The quality of the players are exceptional, and
there's some good footballers in our league. There's some really good footballers. Yes, there's some ex-pros. Yes, there's some, but yeah, these lads are proper good footballers. Some of them, they are, and they played at a high level. And Shildon have got players who have played at a high level, and we're all looking forward to it. Yeah, exactly. Thanks to Bishop's Football Museum Shop for sponsoring our podcast. We'll be giving them a good mention as the weeks go forward as well. We'll be letting you know of all of the exhibitions that are going on at the shop. We'll be giving shout outs for volunteers and donations and all of the rest of it, and we look forward to having another good chat next Thursday. Champion, thank you very much for the invite, Archie, and the best of luck with your podcast, and well done for doing it. Thanks very much, Steve. You're welcome. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Cheers.